Captain Anderson of the Forest Command took all the bonds and oaths of allegiance which the citizens had been forced to sign, piled them in the courthouse yard, and set them on fire. Among the stores captured by the Confederates was a fine imported sword of Damascus steel. General Forrest had the blade sharpened at both sides to a fine point and carried it throughout the rest of the war.
This was the residence of Robert Seat, an early merchant in Trenton's history. He and his 11-year-old son, William, lived here. William was also famous.
What was William famous for?
We'll get to that later. After the battle, young William Seat went to the courthouse to see the excitement and celebration of victory. He saw General Nathan Bedford Forrest sitting high on his horse. In his excitement, he ran up to his horse and blurted out, "Can I join your army?" From his high position on his horse, General Forrest turned his head, looked down, and said, "You little scamp, go back home to your mother." The young Seat grew up to serve as mayor several terms. The last terms he was past the age of 90. He died in 1950, a few weeks before his 99th birthday. Most of the night of December 20th was spent paroling the prisoners, whose numbers had swelled to as large a number as the entire Confederate force. In doing this, Forrest magnified the size of his army. One item captured that Forrest cavalrymen wouldn't let him destroy was counterfeit Confederate money. They said that they could play poker with it just as well as gold. General Forrest reported that he lost 2 men killed and 7 wounded, the enemy 2 killed, and over 700 prisoners captured. Colonel Fry stated in his report that he lost 1 killed and none wounded. The next morning, after the capture of the depot and before General Forrest ordered it burned, he allowed the citizens to help themselves to the immense stores of provisions and ammunition that were located there. T. Lee Wells came out of the depot with 1 rifle and 2 good shotguns, about all he could carry, and going uptown he met John Seat peddling ginger cakes and persimmon beer. He soon got Seat in the back of the Oppenheimer store and struck a trade. Wells was to give Seat a shotgun for all the ginger cakes and beer that he could consume on the spot. Wells did his best to greatly diminish the stock of ginger cakes and beer before he got through. Years later, Wells would write, after that he had not particularly wanted beer and ginger cakes again. The surrender of the Federal force resulted in not less than 400 prisoners of war, 1,000 horses and mules, 20,000 rounds of artillery, and 400,000 rounds of small arms ammunition.
So this brings us to the courthouse.
Yes, the courthouse standing in 1862 was built in 1841 and torn down in 1899. The current courthouse was built in 1901.
It says here that if Colonel Fry had taken up his position in the courthouse and barricaded the streets leading to it with cotton bales, the Confederate artillery could never have reached him, except through the houses of friends. These are actual pictures of the Gibson County Courthouse as it looked during the Battle of Trenton. Early Sunday morning, December 21st, after burning the depot, General Forrest resumed the advance along the Mobile and Ohio Railroad north toward Union City.
Well, this is the end of our tour, the Confederate Monument.
This monument was erected by the Russell Hill Chapter, United Daughters of the Confederacy, and was dedicated in 1907. Originally in the center of the street, it was moved to this site in 1960.
Wow, Trenton, Tennessee has so much more meaning to me now. I didn't know about the Civil War battle or the people who was in it.
Yeah, a lot of historical buildings have been torn down recently, though. It's really sad.
Well, I'm so happy to have taken this tour. I've learned so much about Trenton, and well, I made such good friends in such a short time. After leaving Trenton, Forrest and his men captured Union City and then made their way back to the Tennessee River. At Parker's Crossroads, near Lexington, the Federal forces surprised Forrest and his cavalrymen. After fighting the Battle of Parker's Crossroads, Forrest and his army reached Clifton and recrossed the Tennessee River, where they had crossed 15 days earlier. The Confederate authorities declared the expedition a complete success.
So, is the tour over?
Yeah.
Race you to my house.
Well, now that he's gone, do we go to Cotton's to get some pie? Sure. Let's go.
Ain't no smiling. Your braces are glaring in the sun.
Well, can I come?
Sure. Sure. No. Sorry.
All right.
So that no.
No.
This was the resident of Robert.
The resident.
I didn't film that.
You hit record.
I didn't hit record. All right, ready? 3.
Place and made into apartments. Stop nodding. It's a little.
I'm sorry. I was nodding in agreement. Like that's interesting.
Right.
Sure does look old to me.
Yeah, it was built in 19.
So, what's this big old building?
This is the old Peabody High School.
Oh God, I'm lost for it. Is this where they brought the dead? I think we're finally getting to the good part of this tour, the battle. So, what happened here? This is a funeral. Is this where they brought the...
Not a few.
This is a funeral home. Is this where they buried all the dead people?
I'm so.
Come on, guys. She tricked.
My leg! Okay. And so goes the Battle of Trenton.
Die!
Stop.
Die! This was the residence of Mr. and Mrs. Edward Raines during the Battle of 1862.
Yeah, this says that according to granddaughter Letta Biggs Jedden. What's the last word I just said?
This was the residence of Mr. and Mrs. Edward Raines during the Battle of 1862.
Yeah, this says that according to granddaughter Letta Biggs Jedden. It's not Letta, it's Latta.
Wait.
So, this brings us to the White House. Dang it! God! Okay.
So, I think the tour's over now, so what do I do now? Let's go to Cotton's and get some pie. Oh, yeah.
Hey! Hello! What are you?
I love you.
I love you too.
Not you.